What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Social Media Mindset. And I am honored to be with a good friend that, I've never met in person. And that's just kind of the name of the game in 2021, Raquel, that we can call people friends that we've never even been in the same room with.
My mom thinks it's super weird.
We should probably think it's weird. I don't know if you try to tell somebody from the 80s, that one day you will call your friends people that you've never met in your life. They'd be like, what is happening?
Or you're going to meet people you've never met.
Seriously. and so guys, I'm so excited. I'm personally excited because Raquel, we met through the mortgage space.
Yeah.
But then you left the mortgage space and abandoned me.
I pieced out.
And thousands of others to go chase a passion of yours.
Yeah.
But now you're back. I saw 2 days ago that you were back. And so I instantly was like, duh, we need to record an episode.
You know what? It was perfect timing, Kyle, because I was with my new boss and I was like, hey, guess what? I have people asking me to be on podcasts.
Look at that. I was already making you look awesome. They made the right decision.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. But guys, here's why Raquel's on. I mean this so honestly. I have seen very few people get the level of engagement that you get on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most experts are out there talking about Facebook, talking about Instagram. That's where I spend most of my time. But I watch your LinkedIn and I'm like, what the crap?
You're like, what in the world?
What is happening right now? Because I think I have 7,000 connections on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Which to me is a lot. You have a bajillion thousand.
I'd have a bajillion more if I accepted every connection request.
Oh, I'm sure you would. But 7,000 is a lot of people.
It is.
And I can post something to LinkedIn and not get a single like.
Yeah, you got crickets.
Right? So I want to kind of just start into this episode with just give us a crash course in LinkedIn for dummies. Where are we falling short? Why are we struggling on LinkedIn and how can we leverage it to do it better?
Yeah. Well, I do have to full disclaimer here. I've been on LinkedIn for 8 years. So it's not an overnight success. There's no true secret sauce.
Yeah.
I know that you and I've had this conversation.
Then this episode is over because I only wanted secret sauces. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
But no, we've had these conversations about consistency.
Right.
And consistency is hard, but I will tell you that that is one of my strengths is consistency. So what happened is I got on the platform 8 years ago. I mean, I have to admit, I love people. I have no shame. I don't really I'm kind of fearless in the sense that even from the start, I was reaching out and connecting with people that are pretty high level on LinkedIn already. And I just thought, well, what's the worst that can happen? They just don't make my request or they don't respond. Oddly enough, everybody was not only accepting my connection request, but they were responding. They were, liking my posts. I mean, even for an example, this is a great example. Sue Woodward, with Total Expert, Sue Woodward is huge on LinkedIn and she has been for a really long time. So when I got on, and I started out in the mortgage industry, I was like, all right, who are the kind of big wigs in the industry that are on LinkedIn? And she was one of them. I connected with her, started liking her posts, started commenting. She would respond. She would start liking my posts. And I thought I would fangirl over her. And then I finally met her at a NAMBA conference. And I went up to her. I said, Sue, I have to tell you, I'm such a huge fan. And she's like, girl, I'm a fan of yours. And she just sent me a message not too long ago. I think she saw one of my posts or something, but she's like, hey, I just want to tell you that I just saw your post with your daughter or something and congratulations. And how are you? But that's just one example of many of creating relationships.
But I want to go back because you said six things, right? You mentioned Sue and you're and then I reached out to her and then I just started doing this and this and this and this.
I know.
Let's go backwards.
Okay.
Right. When you say you reach out to somebody, I think a lot of people are like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just go, hit the connect button and kind of send the automated, Kyle Draper wants to connect with you. So like, walk us through the steps. People listening, there's people on LinkedIn, obviously, that you can go around the gatekeeper because you can go directly through LinkedIn to them.
Yeah.
So what does that first message to them look like? Or do you try to like some of their stuff before you send the connection? Like, give us some of those details.
Well, 8 years ago, LinkedIn was completely different. So that's the first thing. So when I did it, I started actually studying the platform. So I was that person that would just like scroll through my feed. And I realized quickly that whoever you're connected with, you get to see their content. And I was starting to see a lot of crap. So then I automatically was like, okay, let me disconnect. So then I realized that who you're connected with is really important, because that's what's going to be in your feed. Yeah. So that was first for me. And then secondly, because there weren't influencers there either. There weren't, like I said, it was incredibly different. So I was in the builder industry first, then the mortgage industry. But what was happening was I was only connecting with people in my industry too. That was like how I started out. So then it made sense. So then if I messaged someone, it was never automated, because I didn't even know that automated messages existed. You have to understand, like, I literally knew nothing. Yeah. Like, I tell people that I studied it on my own, and I'm very intuitive and very perceptive. So that's something that was in my favor. Yeah. So I kind of understood, okay, people like, already at that moment, 8 years ago, I knew people like personal stuff. So even though people were posting business, I also understood how important it was to add that personal element to it. And I figured that out from the very beginning. But it was literally just like, every day I would get on it. I would basically time block like an hour out of my day at work. Okay. And
all at once? An hour all at once, or like a total of an hour?
No, all at once. And then I always had it kind of open. And that was before notifications on your phone too. That was like, you had to go into your computer and log into LinkedIn. And so now there's shortcuts, but when I first started, it took a while.
What do you feel like, as far as like the sequence of messaging, when you send that initial connection to somebody on LinkedIn? Mm-hmm. Is there a certain type of language that you use when you're sending? Like, do you lead with a compliment?
No,
what do you do?
Biggest dork. Like I love doing the voice notes. Now that you could do audio, like voice notes, I do that.
You can do audio in Messenger, in the message.
It's like Instagram on LinkedIn. There's a little, and you go in Messenger. There's a little microphone on the right, and it gives you.
I'm looking at this right now.
Kyle Draper.
What is happening?
You not know this?
Raquel, I do not claim to be the end all be all social media expert of the universe.
Because there are so many people that I send an audio message to, and they're like, wait, how did you do that?
And maybe I should just be offended that you haven't sent me one. So I
sent you one on Instagram. So with LinkedIn, before they had audio, I would just be me and just be like, hey, I would notice, like, if there was a post that really I like resonated with, or really thought was great, I always said something about a post or something about them that basically made it very clear to them that I paid attention and that I took the time. And that's what I tell people, that so someone like myself who gets a lot of DMs and has, a ton of engagement and a lot of connections, I will tell you this. I don't care who you are, but if you message me and you really are like, oh my gosh, Raquel, that post about this and that, I will always respond. I always, and I will always say thank you. And then I'll banter back depending on how they, reach out to me. But I always respond to those. Any spam messages.
So like, we probably shouldn't like lead with our Calendly links for people to book calls with us.
Hey, can you go like my post and comment? And I've never heard of you. And it's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I get those too, where people just send me their posts and in hopes that I'm going to engage in their
man, people just do social media so sloppy.
Yeah.
It's just so half-butted. I'm not a big cusser, so it's interesting to me. And I love that you are, we're all allowed to do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But what I'm intrigued with right now is I want to ask you some questions about, you've been out of the mortgage space for a little while.
Almost 2 years now.
Right. And so, golly, 2 years, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so now you're back in literally in like the last 72 hours.
I got sucked back in.
And so you don't get to just coach from the mountaintop because you're crushing it already. You're about to have to use your own strategy to kind of get back in front of people.
Yeah.
So
what do you think I've been doing, Kyle?
Talk to me about that.
Yeah. I've already reached out to Tony Thompson, CEO of NAMBA. Guess who's back? Guess who wants to help? I've already reached out to,
but say that part again. Say that part again. You said, guess who, what?
Guess who's back in the industry
and wants to help.
Yeah. And I said, hey, you know what, Marilyn, like I'm open to helping you start a chapter. Marsha Davies, who's been one of my biggest supporters, COO of MBA Empower. I'm going to message her. I have her phone number and I'm going to send her a text and I'm going to be like, hey, I am literally using all of the contacts, relationships that I've built, but I will tell you this, I've been out of the industry for almost 2 years, but guess what? I've actually stayed in contact with all of them. Even Tony and I would FaceTime here and there. Marsha, she's liking my stuff. I'm liking her stuff. I'm still in a little like happy hour group with a bunch of women in the industry. So I tell people all the time, like, I got out of it. Doesn't mean you abandon like all those people. Like you've built relationships, you nurture them. And I think once again, like that's one of my superpowers is that I'm really good with relationships. And I still have my friendships from when I was younger. Yes, it takes time and energy, but I know the value in doing that. And look at what's happening now. I'm literally calling up people and messaging like, hey, I'm back, because I know they're going to be like, all right, let's do this.
Right.
Like, who are you? And how dare you try to contact me now that you're back in? It's like, no, okay, yeah, let's work together. Like you, Kyle, you reached out to me right away and said, go to my podcast. And that right there is proof.
100%. Well, and because I've followed your journey the whole time. Yeah. Because you don't just post crap content that is constantly trying to pitch people stuff. Yeah. And you're I value you. And I value you. We've stayed connected in that way.
That's why we stay connected.
So talk about like, you're about to start posting content that's not rock the boat. It's not, what you've been doing for the last 2 years. It's back into the mortgage biz. And so how are you choosing like what you're kind of, I don't want to call it a calendar because you may not create content. I don't create content in calendar form.
I don't either.
But like what sort of content do you have kind of circling around in your head now that you're back in the mortgage space that you're going to begin to put out there?
That is a really good question, Kyle. And it's something that I have been thinking about because, when you work really hard to build your brand, I have a lot of integrity for sure. Yes. So it's like, I even told the company that and I'll say it, New American Funding. I even told the guy that was like, trying to recruit me. I said, listen, it needs to make sense. If I'm coming back into the industry, it has to make sense. The company, it has to be a good fit because I'm the type of person where I'm not going to just like come back in and then just work for anybody. Cause then people are going to be like, oh, well, here she, like, we can't believe that she's working for a good company or what she's saying about these people is true because she's just doing it for the money or she's doing it because she has to or whatever. No. Like I wanted it to be like, hey, this is because they're providing this for me or because they're really big in the Hispanic market and I'm Hispanic. The co-founder, she's Mexican-American. I was part of her mentorship program years ago. So it's like, I know the people in the company and it was a right fit. So then when I start talking about New American Funding, people aren't like, okay, whatever, like we're just going to totally mute her because this is just typical. That's her job is to brand. So of course she's going to brand the company, but I am trying to do it in a different way this time around for sure. So like, for instance, today I did a post. I was on a call. They didn't know I took the picture and I wasn't selling the company, if that makes sense. It was more of like, hey, I just met the team out in Waldorf and I'm excited to see their branch next week. I wasn't like, this is the team and they're so great and this is what they're doing because really I'm learning. Like I'm not going to come in either and totally promote
Sure.
people that I don't really know yet. Like I'm trying to be as honest as possible with it. Like, yeah, this is a new job for me. So of course it's going to take some time. I'm not going to come out of the gate like best company ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff.
Right.
Like I have to also be able to prove it in a way that, yeah, like it's shows.
So we would call that a behind the scenes post.
Yes. And I'm going to do more behind the scenes. And I told them too, because I said, listen, once again, like I have spent years building my personal brand, and I take great pride in my brand and what I'm trying to accomplish in my passions of youth empowerment and rock the boat. And so I told them that too, like, listen, I'll give a perfect example. And she's been on your show, and I think you've been on hers, is Chelsea Pipes, for instance.
Yeah. Yep. Love Chelsea.
I gave her as an example, and I told her, and she cracked up. But I said, listen, there's this woman named Chelsea Pipes. She's huge on Instagram. She's all about Instagram tips for realtors. But I'll tell you this, I bet you like more than 90% of the people that follow her or listen to her webinars or buy her book have no clue who she works for.
Correct.
I mean, like she works for a title company.
Right.
But so they see the value in having her brand and having someone that's out there providing value. And obviously she provides value within her company. I mean, they're lucky to have someone like her, like
absolutely,
inside. So that's kind of like how I see it, where I don't have to be constantly talking about like the company I work for. Like if scenes.
So let's take a turn to brand, because you've done a great job building your brand. You mentioned Chelsea, who anybody that doesn't know Chelsea Pites, go look her up on Instagram. I think she's Chelsea.Pites on there, but you'll figure it out. Go to one of our pages and you'll see it.
Yeah.
She's done such a great job of creating a brand for herself.
Yeah.
Where have you watched realtors and lenders just epically fail when it comes to brand? Like what are the faux pas that it's like, no, don't do that?
Well, the faux pas are kind of like obvious, but yet people are still doing it, right? Like
right. Which is why we need to talk about them.
I know, which is the typical, the flyers, the open house, like all they want to do is talk about the fact that they are a loan officer or they're a realtor. Like, they don't understand that, like, we really don't care. Like at the end of the day, really
stop it. We don't tell the truth on this show. We kiss the butts of these people now.
No,
100%. We do not care.
I could care less. Like, for instance, I was on Phil Treadwell's podcast.
Yep. One of my favorite people.
Yes, one of my favorite too. And I told him, and I said it like, I don't think I said his name, but I think he hopped on. So Christopher Medellin, and for Loan Depot.
Yeah.
Someone that I've been on his podcast. And I told Phil, I said, listen, I don't know. There was something about Chris, like I just connected right away. If I moved to Arizona and I did, like, I'm going to go to him. Like I could care less about anybody else that's in the state, because I already got like such an awesome connection with him. I love his content. Like he's just the same. He's kind of like me. We have these like really fun personalities. And so I already know who I would use. Like I already have people in place, like a girlfriend, I'm in the industry. So do you think like if I'm going to sell my home, everyone and their mother is going to want me to use them? I already know who I'm going to use. It's one of my girlfriends. We had dinner last night. She and I just have a really good connection and friendship.
So you didn't pick them because they shared their latest 5-star review on social media?
Anything, it was the opposite. It's because they're not like trying to sell themselves. Like there's something really sexy about someone that's like subtly trying to, to talk about their business and all of that. Like, I don't know.
Okay. So let's take what you just said really deep.
Okay.
Because most realtors and lenders, I think, will hear this, right? And it's not what you and I are talking about. It's not rocket science. This isn't the first time they've heard this. Funny. Right. So that's the saddest part, that everyone's heard this for forever. And yet they continue to do it because that's what they're comfortable with. Yeah. So for people like Chris, Chelsea, you, me, Phil, right? Mm-hmm. All these people that we could keep naming names forever.
Yeah.
That have gotten beyond the brand and finding comfortability being themselves.
Yeah.
I think the bottom line is most people are just so uncomfortable in their own skin that they don't know how to be anything other than the professional. So coach to that, like how do we help people get out of their own way?
Well, that's the difficult part. And that's the part too, where you have to kind of be really straightforward and be like, hey, if you're not willing to get out of your comfort zone, if you're not willing to challenge yourself, if you're not willing to try something different, you're going to be left behind at some point, because that is where the industry is going. Every industry, if anything, I feel like COVID sped up so many things. And I feel like COVID really changed the way consumers and customers want to work with people.
Yeah.
They want to work now with people that are super transparent and vulnerable, because during the pandemic, that's what happened, is like, you know, the whole curtain of Wizard of Oz, like, was being lifted on CEOs, on companies, on people working from home. And so I think it created this whole kind of movement of like, you know what, we just cut the bull crap. Like, just show me who you are. And it is a very uncomfortable thing to do, but that is what is necessary. So if you're a type of person that you're not willing to do that and you're really stubborn, then it's like, okay, well, then that's on you too. Like, there's only so much that a coach can do, or someone like myself, just, you know, talking to people, can do as well. At the end of the day, you have to do what feels right for you. And I think a lot of it though has to do with just starting out. Like, it's that first initial step, because I find that everybody that starts, they realize it's really not as bad as they think.
Right.
And then when they start posting and they start getting that engagement, it's like dopamine and serotonin. You're like, ooh, oh my gosh, people love that post. And so then you're like, oh gosh, I want to do it again. And then it creates like this really cool kind of monster.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And you know, what I love about you that I hope the listeners will learn from is, you know, you will, like, right now you are dressed up like you're at work, but tomorrow I could see if you're rocking your house shoes.
Yeah, I've got like my slippers and my sweatpants, but yes, I
love it. Right. So, but your business on top, right? That's all that. So
out of respect for you, I wanted to look decent.
Thank you. Well, can I tell you a funny story really fast?
Yeah.
So today, I'm in a t-shirt now for the listeners, but earlier I had a dress shirt on because I did a couple Zoom trainings, but I have basketball shorts on. And my mentor called me and was like, hey, I want to give you something. So I just left the house and went and met him. And he's like, hey, you want to grab lunch? And I'm like, I don't think I can. I'm wearing a dress shirt and basketball shorts and flip-flops. Totally cool for a Zoom meeting. Probably inappropriate for a restaurant.
Yeah.
So I didn't go out in public. So I am learning. But I love about you that tomorrow I might see a video from you, like with your sweatshirt on and with your hair kind of big and wild.
Yeah.
How do you walk the line of like the person that would go, well, like, isn't that unprofessional? Like, don't people want to work with really professional people? Like, how do you speak to that?
Well, that's where I tell people that it's a process too, and building that trust and knowing who your audience is. And that takes time, because believe me, I didn't get to where I'm at, where I can be a complete goofball, complete smartass, no makeup on. It was a process, like, because I did over time, to the point where now people just know me. People, like you said, people like follow my journey. It makes sense to them that like, okay, now she's super comfortable and she doesn't care because she's been doing this for so long, and people have like resonate with that. And like I said, I know my audience. They want to see that from me. If I had an audience that kind of basically was more connected with my professional posts, then I would most likely be like, all right, that's what people want to see.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
And then I'll be a little bit more professional. But it's the opposite when it comes to me. Well,
but since we're also saying the professional posts, nobody really likes anyway.
Well, that's the thing, is it's kind of boring if you think about it. And I will tell you this, there's a reason why I stand out in an industry like the mortgage industry, because
100%.
there are so many people that think you have to be completely professional. You have to be a certain way. And I was that person that wasn't. So it was like hard not to not notice me. Right.
So
like,
good.
And I didn't do that on purpose. It just happened to be that I was in an industry that wasn't used to that. So then I think that's what really helped my visibility and my, you know, social media presence, was because when loan officers or real estate agents or anyone in that industry was scrolling through their LinkedIn and then saw one of my posts, they had to stop and be like, okay, this crazy person, what is she doing? You know? And then they realized that, like, yeah, I'm a goofball. Yeah, I like to have fun. Yeah, I'm a smartass, but you know, I also respect.
But sometimes crazy stops the scroll.
Well,
right. And it's not like your words are ever unprofessional.
Well, yeah.
Right. You're always providing value, whether you're in a sweatshirt or your hair, your hat, you got a hat on,
though, Kyle,
you know?
And
so I think that's a big piece.
No, you're right. Because I always try to make sure, like, all right, I'm going to be really funny in this post, but there's going to be value in it in some capacity, you know, like Ed Sulak, he, you know, he's another big one on social media, you know, real estate agent. And he has this whole thing. And he talks about how, and a lot of people do, but how you add value if it's entertainment or you're actually like motivating and inspiring, or you're educating, all of those things. So then I always make sure that I have at least one of those. In the post.
It's huge.
Yeah. Like I am very intentional with that. It might seem like I'm not, but there's a reason, once again, why I get the level of engagement that I do. It's because of I am intentional, I add value, and I reciprocate. I'm just as much as people are engaging in mine, I'm
what I wish people would understand about, like, people like us that do social media for a living.
Yeah.
I never post anything that wasn't intentional. Right? Like, I wish people could go look at my content, and even on my stupidest post, that they could think, okay, I know he did that on purpose because that's who he is. And so now I need to figure out, like, why did he choose to post that? Because it's goofy, it's silly, right? We're so intentional.
Yeah.
Because there's such a huge gambit of emotion. And I want people to experience all of them at some point when they interact with me.
Yeah.
Right. I want you to go, man, Kyle can make me cry. Kyle can make me laugh. Kyle can make me go, oh, wow, that was deep. Yeah. Right. Like, I can make you feel all the feels because of my ability to communicate through social media. Yeah. And it's what we do at coffee with somebody, right? It's what we would do at lunch. It's just dialogue.
And I feel like, Kyle, if I met you in person, you'd be the same person. And that's what happens. Right. Like me, I tell people that's probably one of the biggest compliments that I can receive, is that when I finally connect with someone in person from LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, and they're like, oh my God, you're just like your videos.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point, you know, or they'll come in and they'll say, I feel like I know you so well. Like, I feel like and I'm like, good, because it makes the meeting so much easier. And then also, not only that, like, how cool is it to be able to go to a conference with a bunch of people and have the people come up to you and already feel a connection. And then the relationship, like, you know, I think just like fast forwards even quicker, because you cut out all the bull crap of like, hey, no doubt. What do you do? And then who do you work with? Like, they come at me and they already feel like they're my best friend. And so then we're able to kind of like, just get past all of the other stuff that really, that's the part for a lot of people that it just sucks and it's hard. And that's why so many people won't network or they won't go to events. So I'm like, well, then do it on your social media so that by the time you are at a networking event, like, you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Right. And I just last week, I met a realtor for the first time that we both live in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Oh, wow.
But we've never met, and we've been friends for 4 years. We've done videos together.
Oh my gosh.
I would call him a legit friend of mine.
Yeah.
But we've never met. And we met for the first time last week. And like, I almost didn't even feel like we needed to make a big deal about it.
Yeah.
Because we've spent so much time together online.
Yeah.
That it was just like, oh, hey, Jared, what's up? And it was like, no, like, we've never been in a room together. Get in here, man. Like, give me a hug. It's crazy the depth that we can go with people on social media.
Oh, yeah.
If we would just show up.
Yeah, it's the showing up and yeah.
And so here's where I want to end this, because you do great. You do a lot of video,
Yeah.
and so you're great at it. I love watching your videos. And so I'm doubling down. As crazy as that sounds, as like the video guy is doubling down on video. I probably do 3 to 4 videos a week. And my goal in 2020, my goal in 2022 is to do 8 to 10 videos a week.
Holy moly.
Because that's, in my opinion, this is where the industry is going, right? We've got to have this presence online. And I don't mean like 10 long videos, but it might be, 5 to 6 TikToks, a couple IG lives, a couple Facebook. So it's not going to be 10 videos smacking people in the face everywhere, but I'm doubling down on video. And so talk to people.
Well, you're good at it and you're entertaining. So
thank you.
I mean, I'm a fan.
Well, I appreciate that. And I might have you, tell my wife how entertaining I am, so she'll appreciate my videos more. Yeah. So what's your advice, right, to the realtor and lender? Because this is mind blowing to me. There are people that listen to every episode I do, yet still aren't doing video. And so I can't help them. So I'm calling desperately for you, Raquel. Please end this episode with your plea to get people on camera. What are you saying to them?
All right, obviously get on camera, but you can take baby steps. There's a way to do it where you don't necessarily have to get in front of the camera by yourself. I mean, there's plenty of people that I've been in a video with them. Like I've been out and about and they're like, I've never done one. I'm like, let's do it right now. And I'll be in the video with you. Right? So like recruit someone that is comfortable in front of the video to do it with you.
Yes, great.
That is really helpful. And then even a Zoom call, like if you're on a Zoom call with a business partner or something or a client, like record it and then just you show that clip and that's a video right there and you're in front. And then once you start seeing yourself in front of the camera and in video, like it's funny because I almost like studied myself in the beginning because I was like, all right, I definitely look super awkward here. I remember my first video ever that I did on LinkedIn in 2018. My ex-husband saw it because we're connected and he goes, oh my gosh, Raquel, like your head was tilted, that you were so uncomfortable, but he knows me so well. And then he showed it to my kids and my kids to this day make fun of that video.
Oh my gosh.
So I myself could see like, ooh, Raquel, like that you really don't look like you're yourself. And so then you just kind of like start realizing what looks good on camera, what doesn't. Like it's a process, but you definitely can take baby steps. It doesn't have to be like suddenly you're like doing TikTok videos. But, you know?
Hopefully you're going to be on TikTok soon, right?
I'm on it. I'm not very active.
Well, that's changing.
I stink at TikTok, people. I will admit it.
Well, not anymore. You heard it here, guys. Raquel is doubling down on TikTok.
Okay, well now you're gonna have to hold me accountable. We'll be accountability partners on that.
You got it. You force my feet to the fire to be better on LinkedIn, and I'll get your butt doing some TikTok videos.
Yeah.
So, Raquel, now that you're in this new role, how do people connect?
Well, still,
how do they reach out?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm still on the same Instagram account, Raquel.Borras. I'm on TikTok as Raquel Borras.
All of it in the show notes.
I don't have Facebook. I deleted my Facebook account.
Oh my gosh. What is happening?
I know. So it just goes to show you that, sometimes you don't have to be active on all social media platforms. It's okay. Like just 100%. Don't be on one. Be totally at least true. On like 2 of them, but choose. Yeah.
So they just need to tell you that they met you from this episode and you'll for sure accept them on LinkedIn.
Oh, yes, please do. But if they're in the industry, I will anyways, usually. But yeah, I am picky on my LinkedIn, I will say.
Well, I'm honored to have made the cut and I hope you'll keep me around.
Maybe.
Raquel, this has been so great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on and dropping some knowledge on us.
Yeah. Woo.
It was so much fun.
I know. Thanks.
You're the best. Guys, thank you for listening. I hope you found value. If you didn't, you're dumb because there was tons of it. So rewind it and listen to it again. Guys, we'll be back soon with another guest with a really cool story. See ya.